Have you ever watched a TV show or movie and had a feeling of deja vu? Like you knew every character and story beat before they happened. That's what happened to me with the 2019 anime Dororo. While the art style was different, the presentation and writing seemed familiar. That's because almost 20 years ago, I played a game inspired by the same source material. Osamu Tezuka is the Japanese equivalent to Walt Disney, the godfather of manga, known for his prolific output, pioneering techniques, and innovative redefinitions of genres. Osamu Tezuka was a legendary Japanese manga artist, cartoonist, and animator, creator of Astro Boy, Princess Knight, Kimba the White Lion, Blackjack, and Message to Adolf? Thank God it's a political thriller. I wish I had a VPN sponsorship. The reason I'm talking about Osamu Tezuka, a man born in 1928 and died in 1989, a man who loved telling stories with his manga so much that when he died of stomach cancer, his last words, "I'm begging you, please let me work," spoken to the nurse who was trying to take away his drawing equipment. His works have inspired manga and anime to this day, with even adaptations being made as recently as 2019, with the anime series produced by MAPPA exploring their very own take on Tezuka's classic. That's what reminded me of today's game, Blood Will Tell. See, Dororo has had many adaptations, each exploring the story of Dororo through their own lenses. Sega in 2002 had made a deal with Tezuka Productions to create games based off of all of Tezuka's properties. Before losing their licensing rights, Sega had 3 of their teams make 3 separate games. An Astro Boy PS2 game that plays like Superman 64, created by Sonic Team. The other being Astro Boy Omega Factor, created by one of the greatest Japanese developers ever, Treasure. And their version of Astro Boy is a love letter to everything Tezuka. And if I get 5,000 likes on this video, Astro Boy Omega Factor will be my next video. But there's still one more game. Blood Will Tell was developed by Red Entertainment, creators of games like Thousand Arms, Gungrave, Record of Aegis War, Fire Emblem Awakening and Conquest, with games like Nude Natural Ultimate Digital Experiment? Expectation? Reality. Red Entertainment is still making games like Gungrave Gore as of last year. The story between the many iterations of Dororo share the same core beats. A story of a world ravaged by unending war. A world not run by gods, but by fiends. Seeing signs of a split between the gods of light and darkness. The demons feared this meant a human will be born that would be able to defeat the fiends and end the rule of the fiends. While the fiends couldn't destroy the child themselves, they could corrupt his parents, enticing his father with promises of power, showing him what he could be. The one who stopped the chaos and bring world order. Thinking the gods of light were speaking to him directly, he traveled to the gates of hell alone. The 48 fiends themselves told him he would have to sacrifice his firstborn child for that power. And without hesitation, he took the deal. The 48 fiends took their prize and gave his father the power to be undefeatable in battle. So the 48 fiends took 48 body parts from that small child, leaving him a husk, an abomination of what a human should be. Being rescued, thrown in a basket, and floated down the river to be found by Jakai. Jakai raised him well, training him how to use his prosthetic limbs and also training him in sword fighting, as well as his own name, Hakimaru. Hakimaru gains certain demonic powers and nearly superhuman senses as side effects of the curse, allowing him to sort of see his surroundings and use his prosthetics. He's basically a living Naruto puppet. The different iterations do have big changes, like in 2019's anime, Hakimaru talks very little and isn't as confident, while in the original manga, the original show, and Blood Will Tell, Haki is a stoic, masculine badass that has to fight 48 fiends. But there's still core chapters to the story, that while the changes have different implications to the story and all-around tone, let's be honest, Blood Will Tell is a lot lighter and nicer to its cast than 2019's Dororo. Both are dealing with dark subjects. One goes harder than the other.
I finally found one. These fiends live off the sorrow and despair of humans. I'm here to take back my body.
Blood Will Tell's gameplay is all about exploration and fighting mostly 48 unique bosses through a 7-chapter campaign. To kill these fiends, Hakimaru uses prosthetic limbs that his stepfather Jakai built for him as his weapons. I'm talking blade arms, machine gun arms, and even a rocket launcher leg. These are demons here, guys. If he needs to be Japanese guts to beat them, then that's what he's got to do. Blood Will Tell is a mixture of 3D brawler and a Metroidvania. A Metroidvania, you ask? That's right. With each fiend you defeat, you regain a body part. Most of the time that means higher stats. But with major body parts, arms, legs, eyes, when you regain these body parts, that's when it changes gameplay. I know your ears perked up when I said eyes, but yeah, you're blind, seeing the world in black and white. But once you get your eyes, you can see the world in full color. But that technically doesn't help in gameplay, it just makes the game look better. But your legs, those are a different story altogether. When you regain a leg, you earn the ability to run. Yeah, these prosthetics, they're not Olympic level prosthetics. These are just his legs, so when you regain your new legs, you're able to actually run. But you also lose your rocket launcher leg. But you don't lose the rocket launcher. It now just operates like a proper rocket launcher that's capable of destroying large rocks that hide their hideouts. But that's not all. When you regrow your arms, you lose your blade arms. But now you can use powerful swords. Sure, you lose your machine gun arm, but the damage output is insane. Like an early Dynasty Warriors game, combat's pretty simple, with light and heavy attacks that are used together to create combos, alongside air attacks, your prosthetic weaponry, and special abilities that change depending on the style of fighting you're using, blade arms or single blade style. And both styles improve as the game goes on because the equipable swords massively boost your power. This works great for that technique.
Attack the enemy using that technique. Then press the buttons as they appear on the screen. Once the enemy's health has been depleted, press the triangle button.
Holding down triangle, you can charge up an attack that goes into a Parappa the Rapper sequence that, if done correctly, instantly kills your enemies. When killed this way, you reap rewards like ammunition, swords, or even green orbs, used to fuel our other health bars. Using your charging technique is imperative to survive this game, because you will need to resupply after difficult boss fights. Now, for the most part, Blood Will Tell's combat is very easy, but that doesn't mean there's not problems. Technically, there's no lock-on system, only a strafe button. What do I mean by technically? Well, you can't lock onto regular enemies, only bosses. Which isn't a problem, except the game teaches you about the mechanic while facing regular enemies. The only defensive maneuver you have is a side dodge, only usable when holding strafe. So basically, it doesn't work on normal enemies. Blood Will Tell has one of the worst tutorials I've ever played, because it actively discourages me from using mechanics. It's like teaching someone how to catch by tossing them a cactus. Why would you ever want to do it again? Well, the straight button does work against the 48 bosses. But to be honest, it's only needed for, I don't know, 8 of them maybe? Even then I barely used it. Hakimaru is so badass, he really never needs it, but there are 2 playable characters. Dororo is a ninja with bad close quarters combat, but with her ninja weapons, she can do damage safely, if you could lock on. Honestly, it sucks, but Blood Will Tell isn't hard enough for this to matter. It's just a bit frustrating most of the time. On the other hand, the one thing that might make you give up is the platforming. Jumping just sucks. You always seem to go way further than you want to, or not far enough, to the point that you naturally assume you can't make the jump. But you can and need to. Let alone that the platforming is the worst type of punishing. Most jumps, when missed, force you to run all the way to the start. You rarely fall and get hurt or die, with the game restarting you at the beginning of the sequence. Good platforming places platforms at just the right range, but platforms seem to be just placed. Now, I would usually agree with the people that are going to be in the comments saying, who gives a fuck about this? This is a character action game. But these small things, like the jumping controls feeling off, are what hold Blood Will Tell back from being a cult classic. That and the voice acting.
My voice. It's my own voice.
Hakimaru has nothing to start the game with. Eyes, ears, the ability to talk, nothing. Just a drive to kill the fiends that cursed him. And he doesn't have to wait long. Meet the Great Horn. For Hakimaru, this is the first actual test for his makeshift body. With a little trial and error, we get the job done, turning him into a donut operator video. The Great Horn had our vocal cords, and now for the first time, Haki can speak.
My voice. It's my own voice.
Even though you probably can't hear it, this is one of the major changes for this game to the anime. He gets his ability to speak way later there. As he moves on to the next village, hunting more fiends, he runs into a little thief that knows good blacksmanship when she sees it. Meet Dororo. In this version and the manga, Dororo is obsessed with acquiring a powerful blade, probably thinking this will stop her from being weak, unable to save her mother and father, to being powerful enough to save people like Hakimaru does. So Dororo is grabbed by Homunculus, another fiend, and it's our job to kill him. But Dororo isn't useless. After we free her, she fights alongside us, helping us get our left eye. See what teamwork can do? That pun wasn't intended. This is where the game starts to open up, where you can actually explore. You can walk around and fight these weak enemies or knock down a tree into a waterfall. Technically you can do this in the prologue, when it's still black and white, but I wouldn't recommend it. Meet the Fiend Dream Eater. Like a boss in OG Doom, there's no challenge here. All he has is ranged attacks. They're dodged by circle strafing and using jump attacks. Defeating the Dream Eater grants you the Hypnocampal Synapse. This is your ability of short-term memory, or gameplay-wise, remembering battle records. Upon entering the village, Hakimaru and Dororo are accosted by the villagers for meeting the troll ringing his little bell.
These two saw the troll!
Who the heck is the troll?
Men, quickly! We must bring them to Mistress Yudai!
If you do not answer my question, I cannot release your bonds. Now tell me the truth. There is nothing to be gained by lying to me.
Said I don't know.
Yucky.
You leave me no choice. I shall put you in the well room like all the others.
Hakimaru and Dororo are soon kidnapped and taken to Mistress Yudai. While tied up, you run into one of the 48 fiends, Scourge.
Die! Die!
Yeah, right on it, Yucky.
Dororo!
Such good timing. Fighting the fiend, it gets injured and retreats into the well. Dororo, with her size, can follow through the cracks in the well, finding all the dead bodies from Yudai's schemes, killing anyone that sees the troll. But why? Discovering that the path the demon retreated to leads to Yudai's mansion, before being kidnapped again.
Someone's there! Get him!
Damn it! Let me go!
Haki, meanwhile, escapes the murder caves to hunt down the troll, following him through the bamboo thicket. The troll leads Haki to a glowing mound of dirt. This is all before Dororo is about to be executed by the villagers. The villagers love Yudai, so much so that they're willing to kill a little girl for it. Why, you ask? Because she's been sacrificing her wealth to save the village that's been plundered by the tentacle monster we ran into earlier. But things just aren't adding up, because the troll leads us and the villagers to the stolen money buried in the bamboo thicket. A fiend is protecting the gold. His name is Hell Crusher, a mace-wielding spell crusher. When killed, you regain your esophagus. Clearly Yudai is a fiend, but the villagers don't want to believe it. And with another attack on the horizon, we need to prove to the villagers that Yudai is behind it. So Dororo searches her manor for clues, literally finding gold with the villagers' names on the bags, while also finding an ancient arrow, probably meant to kill the demon. Hakimaru stays behind, waiting to ambush the Scourge. When the fight starts, the Scourge retreats to the bamboo thicket. When getting to the bamboo thicket, they fight to the bitter end. When defeated, you find out that Yudai is the demon. She's the tail. When defeated, she removes herself from the demon and retreats back to her manor, where she waits to challenge you again as the Ogress. For me, this is the second hardest boss fight in the game, with powerful lightning attacks that at this time, I didn't know about the dodging mechanic, which would have greatly helped against this. And because I didn't resupply my ammo, I struggled for her final phase. When she started shooting lasers at me, it was almost impossible to stop. But since she's summoning enemies to kill us, we can resupply off of them to bring her down to us. This grants you the most important upgrade of the game, your left leg. Now you can sprint. Thank God. The hypocritical villagers throw you out for being clearly cursed by the fiends. And now they don't want anything to do with demons, Hakimaru, or Dororo. But now at least the village is saved from the suffering caused by the greedy fiend Yudai. But with her death, the 48 fiends are aware that Hakimaru is alive and the 48 fiends are in danger and must stop him. Now we can talk about the real meat of Blood Will Tell, exploring and killing the fiends of each chapter. Like the Dream Eater, they're all hidden across the map, and after beating each chapter, you get a little red dot showing you where they are, but not how to find them. Like destroying a very specific shrine monument to summon the Inquisitor, or destroying graves in this cemetery so that the Grey Golem appears. Both fights involve dodging one of their moves, the Inquisitor's Flamethrower and Grey Golem's Tackle. Honestly, the hardest part of these fights is the fact that you're not very powerful at this point. but like a snowball rolling downhill, with each fight you become more powerful. Entering a new village, Haki and Dororo run into a man carrying a bloodthirsty sword, killing animals, people, anything he comes across to increase his power. The sword he wields is the Dragon Brood, a fiend. However, in this version, Hakimaru refuses to kill people, and that is clearly not the case in the anime. Now, you have to use the one sword technique to fight him. As for where we're at in the game, our sword sucks, and this is incredibly difficult because of the little damage we're doing. This chapter is filled with fights like it too. Both men are injured, with only Hakimaru being immobilized from the fight. Even though Haki is down for the count, Dororo, the great thief that she is planning on stealing that sword for herself.
Gotta become stronger. With a sword like that, nobody make fun of me. I'm gonna get that sword no matter what.
Succeeding by pelting that prick with rocks until he passes out. Nonetheless, the sword still craves blood.
And I must have blood.
Huh?
Kill. You must kill.
No, I don't want to kill people.
Good thing Hakimaru heals quickly. He starts looking for Dororo before she does anything awful, leading into another human sword fight. I hate this. Well, it does get better later on as we get more and more powerful swords to utilize. As of right now, it's miserable. And this is where that problem really starts to stand out. With all the wide range attacks and you doing most of your damage from behind her, I died a lot here. This is the boss I died to the most. Other than... We'll talk about it when we get there. Are you seriously not going to do anything about that sword? The woman that Dororo was trying to kill, that's the killer's sister, Misaki. His name is Tanasuki, and he needs to be stopped. On our way to meet Misaki, we run into a technically optional boss fight. Meet the giant fire wheel. You guess how Hakimaru acquires his kidneys.
Kill. I'm sorry, Misaki. Dragon Brood craves blood again.
Misaki! Hey! Oh. Ugh!
With how powerful Tanasuke has become, there is no other choice. Hakimaru must kill Tanasuke and destroy the Dragon Brood. And it's a tough multi-tier war through the countryside, from tar pit to mountain range. All the while dealing with his wide range of hard-hitting, devastating combos, and of course, he has incredible mobility. While I did this on the first try, it wasn't easy. I was very patient and very lucky.
Tonosuke!
Dragon Brood!
Misaki! Watch out!
Tanasuke takes his own life to stop the Dragon's Brood from taking his sister's life, or anyone else's ever again. After the Dragon Brood is destroyed, Hakimaru regains his spine.
Murderer! I asked you to help him!
Another satisfied customer. With this, there are two more fiends left here to kill. The Impaler. He has a spear. That's all he has. No wonder he's hiding under a rock. The Night Terror, on the other hand, is a problem. Hiding in the tar pit, constantly surprise attacking you when he's not trying to headbutt you, or worse, poison you while you're in the tar that's slowing you down. One grants you your cerebellum, and the other grants you Manapara. Hey, what the hell is a Manapara?
What was that?
Upon entering this new village, a group of soldiers is harassing a woman. Hey, I know her. Hakimaru and Dororo come to her rescue and defeat them safely. I prefer the anime version. Their leader is Kagamitsu Daigo and his son Tohamaru. Daigo is waging war against all of Japan, capturing it one village at a time, trying to bring peace through violence and collecting his taxes. Taxes being rice, and he's not getting them. Maybe it's because of, So the villagers take all the blame. Hakimaru and Dororo follow the magistrate, hoping to find the rice. While following the magistrate, I accidentally run into an optional area where, of course, there's another fiend. Goliath. Ultra Instinct Goku here only seems to do jam session, and that's it. But he does give us our adrenal gland. Dororo sneaks into the magistrate's hideout. The front door locks people out because of their weight, so you have to match the weight of the magistrate using these crates, with Dororo using kunai to climb walls to reach further in. Shockingly, he's stealing all the rice for himself. Who would have thought? And of course, Dororo is captured again. Hakimaru returns to the temple to protect the orphans, but a fiend shows up. Twin Blade. I don't know what he does. Using the jump, light attack, and circle strafing him makes sure I never learn it either. Giving Hakimaru back his ears.
Dororo! The magistrate's warehouse? Mountain cave? Hang in there, Dororo. I'm coming for you. Mio, like I said, Daigo's soldiers may come back. Hide inside the temple.
Okay, we will.
As Haki rushes to Dororo's rescue, he runs into the next fiend on our list. Fire Golem. I was barely touching this fight, but I did get Hakimaru's stomach.
I can't eat anymore.
I still hunger. You must eat it all.
The fiend we've been chasing isn't actually the magistrate. It's his stomach. While chasing this weird fiend, we find Mio, who's about to be sacrificed to the mountain. See, throughout the chapter, we've been dealing with constant earthquakes, and there's only one way to satisfy a mountain god.
Have you come all this way to save this wretched girl? What?
This is the Gaping Maw, the stomach fiend himself, using the modded Zangief moveset to terrorize us. He escapes when we defeat him, but there's something worse coming our way.
Damn fiend!
Meet Mountainous, the fiend of the mountain. Mountainous is the level, and to defeat him, Dororo and Hakimaru split up, with Haki fighting his way up to the head as a distraction so Dororo can make it to the temple they're hiding his mountainous heart in. That's right, Dororo kills the fiend with the help of Hakimaru and a fuck ton of fire bombs. From giant rock hands to fire raining from the sky, the next 40 minutes are tough. Kill Mountainous and regain Hakimaru's sense of pain. There are 2 more fiends in this chapter. Travel back to the temple, and in front of Mio's grave, there will be giant hands preventing you from interacting with it. Destroy them, and you will meet the Grand Maw again. Kill him, and you are granted with your small intestines. To fight the next one, you have to travel all the way to the peak of the mountain once more, all to fight the Wind Fiend. Basically, you're fighting the PS2 demon form of Rashid the Turbulent Wind, using a tornado to cover himself and throwing tornadoes at you when he's not flying away. All of this to finally get your abdominal muscles. Honestly, this is a way easier way to impress the girls than eating right and going to the gym. This is our first meeting with Snake Eyes, Saboruto, an opportunist warrior that of course is going to work with the evil ruler Daigo, take advantage of the war between Daigo and Northtown, with a destroyed wall in the center separating the 2 armies that Lord Daigo uses for his executions. Once Hakimaru reaches the wall, a fiend appears before him, a three-tailed fox that you fight on top of the wall, and he uses it to his advantage. When he stops using this advantage, you can attack him and easily get your lymph nodes. As per usual, our duo splits up, Dororo rescuing some of the hostages while Haki goes to Southtown to search for Daigo's manor. Dororo in Northtown finds out that the fox demon is possessing the villagers, using them as his own zombie army. You must traverse this bullshit. The layout is platforming hell. We already talked about the platforming and it being dog shit, but what makes it worse is that you have no clue where you're going. You're traversing a giant maze with no lines on it. It's just trial and error, wasting your time. And what's really fucked up is one of the map designers must have loved this shit because he reuses this later on. And we do all of this just to find out that the kids' parents are possessed, because of course they were. Southtown at least is a nicer maze to travel through. Maybe that's why Daigo's manor is here in the first place. Daigo's son comes to meet us at the gate, wishing to have a meeting with Hakimaru. While in the waiting room, the six-tailed fox demon attacks. He does a lot of damage, specializing in long-range attacks again, but this time with massive lasers. This hurts a lot. Upon his defeat though, you regain your pancreas. Daigo wants you to join his army, but Daigo doesn't understand is that Hakimaru doesn't fight for glory and power. He fights to restore his body. But to make this maze of a town worse, Nine-Tailed Fox puts up barriers planning on starving you out so he doesn't have to fight you like his brothers did. There are 6 evil barriers to destroy, and of course Cuckboy Snake Eyes Saboruto is in our way. This fight is so unbelievably easy. I might be over leveled and over equipped for this.
Hyakimaru.
Jackie, an emergency! Northtown's on fire!
What? Northtown?
Huh, it would appear that Lord Daigo has won this war.
Why, you...
Ah!
Dororo, what's wrong?
I've been caught by Daigo's troops!
Hang on, Dororo. I'm coming for you.
I hate the non-lethal battles. They limit your moveset and... Taramaru just isn't worth the time and effort. Now it's time to fight the Nine-Tailed Fox, and he's vicious, rushing you down covered in fire, summoning smaller foxes to just swarm you. This is one of those fights where you really need to preserve your ammunition for the end of the fight, because he won't come down until you kill the smaller foxes.
My heart. I got my heart back. Can you hear it beating? That's my heartbeat. I can feel my pulse. I got my heart back. Dororo, I really am alive.
I'm so happy for you, Hyaki!
Those kids, yeah, their zombie parents burned alive during the final attack, and now those kids are orphans too. This story is very dark, but it doesn't feel that way because of how the story is projected by the acting and the writing.
I have a feeling that Hyakimaru shall continue to be a nuisance to us, my lord. As Lord Tahomaru is injured, may I be permitted to dispose of Hyakimaru?
Request granted. Take Midoro with you. He's the best horse in my entire army.
Now, onto the optional fights, like the Beast Fiend. He opens up the fight like an online Honda player. All he does is butt slam. But that's not the problem. The bombs coming out of his Dora the Explorer backpack are. It is kind of ironic that I gained the cerebral neocortex when I used no thinking to win. How about a Hellcat? A cat that's basically swatting at you with his cute little paws. All he really does is restore our Muad'Dibra. It's a chakra point. One of the last ones is Death. Too bad I came here after almost completing the game, so he had no chance. I didn't even see his moveset before I acquired Hakimaru's thyroid gland. Here you have to destroy a couple more shrines to fight the Blood Ape. And that was the fight. Here's your ribs.
Tahomaru is my little brother, which means Kagemitsu Daigo is my father. The very man who is trying to conquer this country is my father?
Hakimaru is now being hunted by fiends, monsters, demons, and even humans, because his father and brother are leading a human army meant to conquer the world for the greater good. Haki makes a decision to split up. This is honestly the only way to keep Dororo safe. Too bad that's not the case. So Boruto and the fiends are going to use her to kill Hakimaru. Dororo ends up in the Sheikh Temple, a place of worship for the faceless masses, or Legion, with a fiend capturing Dororo for her face. Her only chance of survival is Haki coming to her rescue, but he ends up running to Miyazaki, Tanasuki's brother, and she's here for revenge.
You'll never be able to beat me with those skills.
I asked you to help my brother, my only brother, and you killed him! Give me back my brother!
Your brother's soul was consumed by a fiend, and if you continue down this path, you will lose yourself in darkness too.
Upon reaching the Sheikh Temple, you run into Red Cap, Dororo's kidnapper. Not knowing what to do, Hakimaru plays a little dumb to try and get close and ends up in a trap fighting Red Cap one-on-one. It's a really easy fight once you're able to dodge the green power orb, and even easier if you have a powerful sword. Dororo, no longer at the temple, is now face to face with Legion. On the way to rescue Dororo, at a waterfall we run into the Thunder Fiend. He has 2 attacks that I saw, shooting lightning bolts at you and surrounding himself with lightning and charging you. I had no problems gaining my lateral muscles. But if you thought that was easy, wait until you meet Legion himself. I think he had a lightning attack, and he swung a sword once? But hey, at least Haki gets his nose back. After all of this, the dynamic duo groups up again, but now there's an evil dynamic duo. On the way down from the mountain, I decide to check up on the faceless people trapped in the shrine and run into Red Cap again. This fight is theoretically tougher because of the orbs he's throwing at us, but I'm honestly so powered up that he can't do anything, so I just made this into a DPS race. This gives us probably one of the most powerful upgrades: Hakimaru's left arm, removing our blade arm and allowing us to equip it as a sword, or let's say, that powerful sword we've been using to dominate so far. That's right, the sword I've been using for the last level is now wieldable, while using the 2-sword technique. What the fuck? Oh, this lures the Inferno Wheel into a fight, unlocking our bone marrow. To unlock the next boss fight, you have to jump from a high location onto this button. For some reason, this is unbelievably difficult. Either it's because of the jumping controls or something else. I have no idea. I just did this endless loop of trying to jump on this button and falling over and over and over and over again. All so I could meet the Minotaur. This is one of the tougher optional fights, with powerful laser beam attacks, fast and very aggressive charge attacks, and he has a lot of defense and HP. As the fight progresses, he gets more aggressive and even starts doing ground pounds where the camera loses him till he comes back down. This fight was so tough, in fact, he almost made me use one of my health bars. It's actually kind of ironic that this ball-busting fiend granted me Hakimaru's pelvis. Now for the last fiend of Chapter 5, the Soul Stealer. Head all the way back down into the Sheikh Temple to the exact room where we fought Red Cap. There's a hidden wall behind him, and that's where we find Soul Stealer. Soul Stealer is an ice-type Pokemon, so of course he does a ground pound tackle with Icicle Crash. Killing him regrows Hakimaru's large intestines. The fiends grow desperate with Hakimaru killing so many of them. This chapter is all about setting up the final chapter, with Daigo and his son having a meeting with the remaining 48 fiends, with the fiends calling for a meeting with Daigo at the gates of hell. Hakimaru and Dororo feel their evil presence and show up at their shrine. So all the major players are here, including the now demon-possessed Mizaki. She still ain't shit. Hakimaru is separated and tranquilized by a powerful fiend, with Daigo again put into the position of sacrificing his son for his dream. When I'm done struggling with the platforming, Haki just gets up and we're forced to fight Saboruto's horse Midoro, while having an absolutely sick design. The horse only breathes air at you and charges, but you do get your right eye and are now able to see depth. And use your mind's eye at the same time.
Me? I'm your angel of death.
What?
I was created by the 48 fiends to eliminate you. I am the spawn of demons.
With battle lines drawn, Saboruto admits that the 48 fiends created him. Now, the two brothers must unite to stop their father. You and your brother split up and are going to meet at the entrance. But before that happens, you run into the boar fiend. Ground pound, bombs, unlock titty muscle. You find out your brother was kidnapped, and now you have to go save him, stop your father, and stop the 48 fiends from ruling the world through him. But we got one more demon to fight in this chapter. So let's go into the maze, destroy this Buddha head, and fight the cursed monk. A monk with a very large tongue, uses poison attacks, and of course teleports. This of course unlocks your 6th chakra, Anjana. Remember the wall, the village, chapter 4? Daigo is there, building a monstrously large castle for him and his demons to prosper in. And of course, we have to travel through the maze. That's right, these roofs, that village, to get to this castle. And it doesn't get any better when you actually get into the castle. Most of the puzzles inside the castle revolve around traveling between different floors to gain access to this bridge, then moving this bridge to gain access to other floors through these elevators and a hidden trap door that we have to access through this giant Mario and Bowser's Tower spike room. This gets us access to deeper parts of the tower that allow us to go from basement to penthouse. Splitting up again, Dororo enters the dungeon to save the workers trapped underground. But that also means Dororo runs into a fiend by himself, the Dragon Tank. No, not that Dragon Tank. Not the one from Chrono Trigger. It's just a demon sitting on top of a giant tank with a drill on the front of it. The only way you can damage him is through the use of powerful bombs. You can use this to damage him and push him into the massive hole in the floor in the center of the arena. That's the only way you can defeat him. Well, now that that's over, we can at least rescue these workers from their dungeons. Running into Taramaru. Wait, the dragon tank didn't die, did it? At least this fight doesn't change, but he is more susceptible to our bombs, and when he's defeated, Haki regenerates his teeth. Now, switching back to Hakimaru for what's basically a boss rush. A fiend rush? With malicious traps to slow us down, like this trap here. When I stepped on it, it sent me all the way back to the beginning of the castle. How about these flamethrowers protecting a moving platform? Starting off our fiend rush with the demon ogress. This may look like a refight, but that's because it is. This is where Haki regains his lungs, so he can finally breathe. So Boruto is the next battle, and it's tough. Especially for someone who wasn't using his dodge. You know, like me.
That kid traveling with you. Dororo, was it? That's the one you're looking for. They created Dororo with your body parts.
What?
I speak the truth. I'm surprised you never realized it. Why else do you think you could communicate telepathically? Just kill Dororo, and I'm sure you'll get back all the body parts you want.
After this, all the optional fights open up. And on the top balcony of the castle, trust me, you'll be able to find them. Blood Gore, Carrion Feeder, White Dragon, and Three Face. 4 fights, 4 body parts. Moving on. Look, this is like the 8th fight in a row. I'm getting tired of talking about these bosses. Now it's time to meet Daigo for the last time, and he's still preaching the same old bullshit. The ends justify the means, but it doesn't matter if the fiends are possessing him, or that they're having him kill his own son. What matters is that he will unify Japan under one rule, his, or in reality, the fiends that are left, turning Daigo into a chimera, to give him a chance of defeating you. His most dangerous attack is his tailspin. This attack is massively bigger than almost anything else anyone's done to you to get you off of them. Second is his meteor attack. Now, while he does have Nappa level mouth beams, you'll never get hit by it. This fight, like most others, is very easy. Your possessed brother, on the other hand, has every bullshit attack from every fiend you've ever killed thus far, and even then, he's still not that tough. But he can also regenerate health, prolonging your suffering. This is one of the main reasons why I actually lost the health bar in this fight.
Tahomaru. Tears. I have tears.
Yakimaru, what am I to do?
You must fulfill his wishes. Work side by side with the people, as he would have, to rebuild this country.
Not by force?
No, by working with the people. Become a leader the people can respect. That was Tahomaru's wish.
Yakimaru, do you not hate me?
Hate you? The fiends manipulated you. There is no reason for me to hate.
My son, what do you plan to do now?
I don't know. I'll figure it out once I get back all my body parts.
So everything you've just seen is where Dororo, the anime, manga, and the story in general ended. So Dororo started out as a manga series in 1967 in Shukan Shonen Sunday as a weekly serial, running for less than a year until Tezuka stopped making it, or, it got cancelled. Unfortunately, the story never had a real conclusion, but technically, the manga was then concluded in Akita Shoten Bokuno magazine in 1969. But this is a game after all, and unlike the anime, it's not going to take us 50 years to kill all 48 fiends. First, let's start off with cleanup. We have to kill 47 fiends before entering the last chapter. If you killed every single fiend up to this point, there will only be 3 left. Starting off with Mizaki, possessed by the 36th fiend, and she's finally able to control her powers. Just like her brother, she's possessed by a blade too. While her moveset is pretty cool, she's not much of a threat, mostly because of how overpowered we are. When she's knocked down, her sword has a mind of its own, and you have to kill it to save her. This is important. You have to do this first because defeating her regains your right leg, increasing movement speed, and giving you your most powerful weapon, your rocket launcher, which is now powered up and can now destroy barriers blocking us from other fiends. When we go back to chapter 2, where we fought Masaki's brother, destroy this rock, releasing the next fiend. Meet Draconis. He's a fire-breathing snake that has your liver. Now for the last of the endgame bosses, heading back to chapter 1, you have to destroy another rock to meet Mai Onaba, a butterfly mixed with a dragonfly demon, summoning skeletal soldiers to fight you, shooting psionic waves from her tail and spreading poison pollen to you. She's basically a hellish butterfree. Now you have your Visudaha.
Did you...
I found a way.
Really?
The spirits of fiends are somehow naturally drawn to my spirit. If I can get my spirit inside of you, I can then lure the fiend out of your body.
You can do that?
Yes, I can do it without causing you any physical harm. Perfecting that technique was harder than I thought. Sorry I took so long.
No, I just didn't think I'd see you so soon.
There is still just one problem left, Dororo.
Problem?
Even though I can lure out the fiend, I cannot sever its bond with you.
Which means...
Which means I'll be fighting the fiend while it's still a part of you. And if anything goes wrong, something bad could happen to you. You could die.
What?
Which is why I've decided I don't mind my arm staying like this.
No, Yucky. You made an oath to defeat all 48 of the fiends and get back your body. Don't you worry about me. I trust you, Hyaki.
Dororo.
Come on. Give it your best shot.
The final fiend, the Behemoth, a multi-tiered battle, starting off with a long-range duel between you and the Behemoth. Hakimaru's new powerful rocket launcher is the only way you can damage the fiend, while the Behemoth peppers you with green and purple orbs and laser attacks meant to corral you for easier damage. This is the first fight where the boss is circle strafing us. That's before the Behemoth decides to get in close. You can climb up its arm and slash at its face. It's slightly harder than it sounds, but honestly, jump, light attack. You'll be fine. The third phase, the Behemoth lands on the platform where you're fighting and forms a shield around himself, launching lightning attacks and breath attacks at us as his main offense. If you're able to dodge all of his attacks, you can run around to the Behemoth's back so you can run up its tail and attack the spikes on his back. These are generating the lightning attacks. Its arm will try and grab you and throw you off, but if you're prepared, you can dodge it with special attacks or even dodge it. If you fail to dodge it, this happens. After all of these incredibly difficult phases, difficult for this game, we have the most difficult, the fourth phase. The Behemoth dive bombs you, and you have to combo it from 100% to 0. If you fail, and you will, you'll have to keep doing this until you die or the Behemoth falls. But even with that, that's not the hardest part. The hardest part is reaching 48 slices on its heart. I'm assuming it's possible. I tried it for at least 3 hours before looking up a walkthrough and finding out that I needed a very specific sword that increases your amount of slices during a charged attack. You have to go all the way through chapter 7 again to get it. And then, I did it on the first try.
it!
Hyaki?
Dororo, look! It's my right arm! My real arm!
You did it, Hyaki.
Dororo, I couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you. Hyaki.
Blood Will Tell is a very okay game with a great concept. That might be why it's such a good anime and a manga. Honestly, unless you love Dororo, the anime, so much that you want to explore everything related to it, I can't really recommend Blood Will Tell. While I did have a good time, it's just another PS2 game with a big name attached to it. Whenever I describe the idea of the game to someone, they get excited about it, but no one ever tries it. But they would watch the anime, which I would recommend, because as a modern retelling, made before modern became a buzzword for shit, it succeeds at showcasing why the story and concept of Dororo have lasted all these decades.